Hi, my name's Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found me. And if you are returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Well, it's been a week since I've been on my podcast because it's hard to talk when you have asthma. But today, I have something that I want you to think about. And that one thing I want you to do is when you get a chance, I want you to take a piece of paper, draw on that piece of paper your tombstone. And at the top of the piece of paper on the tombstone, I want you to put your name, right? And then after you do that, I want you to write down what you want to be remembered for. What do you want other people to remember you by or as? So what do you want to be remembered for? So I want you to do that. And there is a method to the madness, right? It's always a method, right? So I want you to look at that once you have it all written down, and I want you to think to yourself, how could I make that happen? Yep, that's it. I want you to create on a piece of paper, draw your tombstone, and on the top of the tombstone, you're going to write whatever your name is, your first and last name, and I want you to write out on the tombstone what you want to be remembered as or by or for. So let's say, for instance, I want to write my name, Jack Bowman, right? And I want to be remembered for inspiring people of all walks of life. So now, if that is what I want to be remembered by, that is the end result because it's on the tombstone. So now let's go to the beginning and look at the end and say, how could I make that happen? How could I become an awe-inspiring person to help those find and elevate their lives to a level of success that they deem is worthy of talking about or having or whatever? I want you to look at that tombstone and say, now that's what I want to be remembered by or as or for. Now, how do I make that happen? So you can start any moment in your life at any time. You're never too young. You're never too old. You can start at any moment in your life. The reason why I say, well, we know young people, they have a lifetime. But if you're old and you're really saying, I done lived all my life. Well, in your last days, what would you want people to remember you by or as? You can still work toward that goal. So I want you to write out, what do you think it would take? And these are questions. Basically, you're just asking yourself, what do you think is going to take to make whatever you've written down on your tombstone to happen? How are you going to make that happen? Right? What things do I need to learn right now? What things do I need to accomplish? If so, if you have to. And who do I need to emulate myself behind? Or, emulate myself to the type of person that is on that tombstone. All right, so it's all you got to do is find somebody that is doing very well and successful in that area, that whatever you have on your tombstone, and then you could probably learn more about that person, emulate certain things that made them successful, and move on, and so on and so forth, right? But what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, now that you have what you have on that tombstone, what will it take to get me there? You're going to have to ask yourself some serious questions. How am I get there? What will it take? And here's something else. If whatever you have written down on your tombstone, right? And you achieve that. Let's say you achieve that. I want you to ask yourself this. How would it make me feel that I accomplished everything I set out to do in my life? What and how would that make you feel? Would you talk differently? Would you act differently? Who are you at that moment? What do you believe would be the changes to make these things a reality in your life? So this is something for you to think about, because it is an idea that will help you to think toward the end goal. And in order to do that, you have to, there's a whole lot of stuff that you would have to do, but just the beginning, just to get you on the road, right? To start to think about that tombstone is powerful, because it's saying, I want to be remembered as this person. I want to be remembered as this type of person. So if you want to be remembered as that type of person, there's maybe some things that you have to change, maybe some things that you might have to learn, maybe some people that you might have to meet. So you have to start setting goals for yourself, right? To do these things, to make whatever you have written down on that piece of paper on your make-believe tombstone, you have to actually work toward that end. So the reason why I want you to put that up in your room or somewhere where you can see it, it's also like having a vision board. I want to be successful in this area. I want to be known for this area. So yeah, a lot of people have that vision boards. They have their pictures of what they want in their life, where the places they want to go in life, and things that they want to do, cars, homes. They have all that stuff. But after all that's achieved, after all that is accomplished, what is the end result? What do you want to be known for? How do you get there? So you already have it on tombstone. How do you make that happen? Ask yourself, what things do I need to do in order to make this happen? Do I need to learn a new skill? What tools do I need to gather in my life? Who do I need to speak to? Do I need to take some new courses? These are only things to ask you to invoke thought, where it makes you want to think about what in life do you need to change in order to get to your end result. And even if it's not your tombstone, right? But what you would want people to think of you as or remember you by over the course of your entire life. And that really would make you think. If you just can't answer that question, you have to put some thought to it. You have to sit down and say, Dad, I never even thought about that question. And if you have, good for you. Good for you. That means you're making some steps, some headway, and you're thinking about the end result to see how you can formulate ideas to make your end result a reality, right? And I'm not talking about the end to grave. I'm talking about the end result in achieving what you want to achieve out of life, right? So let's not. Some people will probably think as this as a morbid ordeal, but it's not. It's just taking an idea, saying, I want the end result. I want my end result, and this is what I want it to look like, and this is what I want people to remember me as and by and for. So I need to make the preparation starting right now to change my life to make that a reality. So I only want you to think about that. That's where we're going to go with today. You're going to make those things a reality. And, a lot of people, there are a lot of things about trying to make transformations or changes within our lives. And I get it. I talk about change on this podcast a great deal. And sometimes in changing, we might have to rewire what goes on upstairs in our mind, right? We might have to think about what we need to change or how we need to change, rewire ourselves from like our the way we grew up, our background, and all the things that we were taught from a kid and growing up. Those are the things that help shape us to make us who we are right now. But now you are looking at the end result, so you want to say, okay, this has gotten me, my background has gotten me this far, and it doesn't seem like it can take me any further. I need to make a course correction. I need to make some changes in my life because this is what I want for my end result. Now, along the way, as you are making all these great changes and things happening, your life will ultimately change for the better. So whether you're having ideas or thoughts that you are trying to change, and I know a lot of people who are stuck in their ways, they don't want to change, but there are a lot of things that we go through in life, and all the things that we have dealt with, all the people who poured into us, and all the bad things that poured into us, whether it be a positive life-serving beliefs that move us in a direction that may be a positive and allow us to live a purpose-filled life, or it could be on the other side of the coin. Something that deals with limiting beliefs. We might have been told all our life that we're not going to amount to this. You can't do that. You can't do this. So you got to get rid of all those limiting beliefs, because the sad thing about them is some people don't even realize how it's actually ruling their future. How it's guiding, those limiting beliefs are guiding the future for you. So I want you to think about all of those things and write them down. What people have told you, write the bad, write the good, and start making a journal in your life where you can start seeing things formulate. This is why I did this. This is why I'm going through that. This is why I'm feeling about this. This is what made me feel that way. I touched on many different things of how we can change, and I even made a podcast with a series that's called The Change. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to that. And it talks about where do we need to start, where do we need to begin, and I guarantee you have to start somewhere. No matter what anybody has ever told you in your life that you can't do this, you can't do that, or no matter what your limiting beliefs might have told you yourself. So once other people stop talking, it really matters what you say to yourself, right? So you have your own limiting beliefs. You tell yourself things as well. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good. So why are we this way? Why? Right? It's just the way we're brought up. It's our beliefs and so on and so forth. So I believe what makes a person not want to change is fear everything, whatever it might be, whatever your reason. Fear that things you might fear change, period. You might fear what others think about you, what they might say about you, people who are judgmental, especially family members who might be judgmental. So I want you to think about all of that. Write it all down, whatever you've heard, right? And some people, when it comes to trying to make a change in their life or a transformation, that they may be stuck in their own ways and their old ways and ways that, don't give them a purpose. Some people are strongly reluctant to change because of a deep-rooted issue that could be related to a fear factor of the unknown. People are afraid of things they don't understand or don't know. There might be other reasons too. We all have, I talked about this before. We talked about patterns and behaviors and so on and so forth. All this goes into trying to change your reality to something that you've dreamed about, you dreamt about, or something like your end result, whatever's written on your tombstone. So we may have to change certain patterns and behaviors, right? This is just an idea of things that you want to go through. So I want you guys to just think about your end result and how you want to make that a reality. All right. And I'm not going to keep you long, but I do have an example. I want you to just say, let's just say this. I always believe that I have to say this about the gym because that's my deal. You know, I've wanted to change my own life, and I wanted to change, and I talk a lot about weight because I was 305 pounds, but I look a whole lot better than I do now. But I mean, than I did back then. But when you see the transformation pictures, you say, "Oh my God, that is a good change." It's not an easy change because the change is instant. You can make the decision to change instantly, but maintaining change and continue to be consistent within your change, that's where all the hard work is. So let's just say I wanted to make a change, because the reason why I say these things is when we change, the moment you think about making a change, it changes a lot of other things. It has a domino effect, right? Several other things in our lives may have to change. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say I wanted to lose weight and get into shape. So let's just say after dinner, I decide to, 15 minutes later, I'll take a walk. I'll take a 10-minute walk or a 15-minute walk, whatever my base beginning is, because some people can walk for 15 minutes and then they fizz out. That was me. I walked a half a block, and believe it or not, I had to walk all the way back home, and it felt like I walked for a whole mile. So yes, you may start out with 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but eventually you're going to work your way up to 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, depending if you're going for extra credit, right? But here's what I was talking about, how it's a domino effect, and several other things might change. Now you're walking, so all of a sudden now you're starting to think, maybe I should start eating a little healthier. So you start learning about nutrition to maximize your results, right? So now you're walking, you're learning about nutrition, and you're becoming healthier slowly, right? Then you start learning about, I want to be around other people who have similar goals to help me be more inspired, right? So now you might want to go to the gym, right? Now listen to that. You took a walk, you started walking, you started learning about nutrition. Now you want to be around people who are dealing with the same or similar goals as you. You want to be around people who inspire you. Now you go to the gym, and guess what? You go to the gym, and now you go and you say, you know what? I'm going to hire me a coach so I can get a grasp on the proper form that I should be using and how to use the machines properly to avoid any injuries, right? So now all these changes you just made, and it all started with the idea of saying, I do want to lose a little weight. I do want to look a little bit better. I do, want to get in shape. It all started with the idea. Then, guess what? It turned into action by taking the first step and say, I want to take a walk for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes. I'm going to take a walk. And then you decided to learn something new about nutrition. Oh my goodness. And then you wanted to be around other people. You see how this domino effect is? So imagine applying that to your tombstone. You're looking at the end result of all the things that you want to be remembered by. There are going to be a couple of things that are going to be changing throughout your life in order to get that end result. And the beauty of all of that change, you're going to live healthier. You're going to live happier. You're going to be more, have a life more fulfilling, and you're going to have purpose. That is phenomenal. You got to have that clear vision. And the reason why I want you to go ahead and write and draw a tombstone, that's going to give you your vision. Whatever you want to be remembered by, remembered as, or remembered for, it's going to give you a vision to work toward that. You got to ask yourself, if that's what you want, now ask yourself why. And when you answer why, I want you to go ahead and go 7 times more. Whatever that answer is, I want you to say why one more time. And then whatever that answer is, I want you to be a little childlike and say why again. And then whatever that answer is, say why again. Get to the core purpose, the core reason, the nucleus of why you want to do whatever it is that you have on that tombstone. If you want to create change in your life to reach your full life potential, so to speak, you'll have to take the shot to do so. I once read, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, sometimes those shots you'll miss, and sometimes you won't. But as your skill sharpens, deepens, and your resolves stay committed to being consistent to the end, you'll make most of your shots without a shadow of a doubt. You have to commit to live your life on your own terms. Hey, my name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Hey, I didn't do a video today because it's really more time consuming than I ever imagined. But I can hammer out a podcast like this within 15 to 20 minutes. Hey, if you want to reach out to me, you can do so. And you can do that at dave@thelastpodcast.info. Or you can actually reach me at 972-284-9518. I look forward to hearing from you, and do me one favor. Share, subscribe, and thank you so much for listening. You guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. Bye-bye. I almost forgot, this is the new instrumental that I just created. I hope you like it.